Gather around. It's time for the show to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, this is...
Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
Alright, there were so many matches this year that were just too much.
So this won't be a shocker because we've had a handful of really awesome matches that we just can't stop talking about.
How many times have these guys fought? Like it's been quite a bit.
I've been saying this all year. They're just so great to watch. We saw the heel turn coming, and then when it happened, nice and bloody, both dramatic and beautiful.
You are now entering the ring with Chutes and Ladders podcast. Here are your hosts, Desiree and Jason.
Chutes and Ladders, tribute to Hulk Hogan. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
Alright, welcome to a very special episode of Chutes and Ladders. Today we pay tribute to the man who wasn't just a wrestling icon, he was a pop culture force of nature. We're talking about the one and only immortal Hulk Hogan. What are your initial thoughts, Des?
This one's really tough. This one hit really hard too, and I was completely shocked. We knew that there were health issues, but not to this severity. And it was tough to work a full day and think about him. I was like, I need to mourn Hulk, and it rocked us fans hard. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little emotional, and he is a man that raised us, and he will be forever loved and cherished.
Yeah, I had multiple friends and family members ask if I was okay. So yep. I think they realize how much he's meant to me and just for wrestling fans everywhere.
Same. It was actually pretty comforting when you start getting those messages from random people saying, I'm sorry for your loss, or how are you doing? I heard the news. Like he was a family member.
I know, for sure. And today we're counting down the top 7 moments of his legendary career. Why 7? Because in the Bible, 7 represents completeness, and Hulk Hogan was a devout Christian. It only feels right to honor his legacy this way. So that being said, what is your number 7 moment?
I know we're going to have a lot of similar things on our list. I'm going to go with The Rock versus Hogan. Just because it's icon versus icon. It is one of, and I'm talking about particular the WrestleMania match, and it has been rated as one of the top Mania matches of all time. It was the return of Hogan from WCW back to WWE, but he came back as a heel. But what was so fantastic about it, the crowd loved him, was cheering for both. You didn't know who to, cheer for and who you wanted to win. But at the end, basically Hogan turned face again. He was America's sweetheart, and, seeing him with The Rock, they're both superstars, both Hollywood icons. Just pure magic between both of them.
Great choice. Spoiler alert, that's on my list.
I knew it.
All right, my number 7, since it happened at WrestleMania 7, Hogan defeating Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah. Yes. And this is one of the most patriotic moments. This is one of the very few times where I just felt uneasy about a storyline in wrestling, and this is one of them just because of the Gulf War, flipping Sergeant Slaughter, who is a G.I. Joe hero, and pushing him that way. It just did not sit well with me. And this is one of the very few times where I was like, okay, I really, really want Hulk Hogan. I don't care who else wins, or I don't care who has the title. I just don't want it to be Sergeant Slaughter for this awful angle. But this was just a great moment, I'd say, for wrestling. And to be honest, this was the end of this is basically the end of the golden age of wrestling before the Attitude Era. So I think this is a great way to end it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love Sarge too. So yeah,
absolutely
amazing voice.
Thank you. And what's your number 6?
Mine is going to be the transition to WCW. This was back in 1994 at Bash at the Beach, where it was his first match against Ric Flair, Mr. WCW, and he actually won the title from him. But this was really caught the fans off guard just because Hogan has always been synonymous with WWE, WWF at the time for the 80s and 90s. And this is when he switched to Hollywood and was acting. So when we saw him appear, at WCW, we're like, what is he doing? But little did we know what he was planning to do. But it was just that big transition to the rival promotion.
Great choice. I never thought I'd see that day. So yeah, that was definitely a historic moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number 6, and I cheated, of course, but I'm allowed because it's a tribute. But I have 2, Hogan versus Warrior, and just because this was just for him to put someone over when he didn't have to, if he really didn't want to. And I know they were kind of pushing for someone new to kind of come in. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was such a class act. That match, even all these years later, is still highly regarded. They always reference it, the back and forth. I mean, it was just epic. No one really necessarily thought that Hogan was going to lose, and he did, and they made the right call. And I don't want to end on a loss, so I'm going to have a surprise one that you may say, oh, wow. When he defeated Triple H at Backlash in 2002.
Yeah.
And what's funny is you just mentioned him versus The Rock. I don't think creative realized that he was going to get that much of a reaction. So they said, we have to strike while the iron's hot. And Triple H was at his ultimate peak at the time. But the fact that they acknowledged how much people loved Hulkamania to give it back to Hogan, that says a lot. And for him to win a title close to 20 years later on the tail end of his career and to do it and say, you know what, you still are the man, that's impressive. So there were so many pinnacles of his career. It's just nuts. And I know it's a surprising moment, but I just thought that was very important.
No, those are great points.
Okay, number 5, who you got?
You said it. It's the rivalry with Warrior. Specifically in 1990, that WrestleMania match, it still goes down in history. Exactly what you said. It was good sportsmanship. Hogan did not have to drop his title. He didn't have to, but it was basically a passing of the torch, very similar to what he did with The Rock and everybody else 20 years later. With Warrior, he was the champion, and he did it with a clean loss. And what was fantastic about it was he handed Warrior the belt. And I love this rivalry. This is one of my first memories of wrestling. Both my brothers, one brother was a Hulk fan, one brother was a Warrior fan. So I was like, oh, this is great. It's going to be the clash of the brothers too, because I'm a Randy Savage girl. So I'm in a different realm. Yeah, this one is just pure nostalgia. This is what I think of when I think of Hogan. So Warrior.
Speaking of Randy Savage, my number 5 is when Hogan defeated Randy Savage at WrestleMania 5. The Mega Power. I know. I'm sorry, Des. No, but the reason why is because these two were the top guys. And even though they were the Mega Powers, you know that they had to create a rivalry to draw the most money. And wrestling was so hot at the time, and this only made sense. I mean, I love Macho Man too. Everyone consistently says he was one of the hardest working guys. He was so great to get along with. But, everyone knew that Hogan was going to get the belt back. And I know they kind of had their issues and problems. And I'm not saying I justify everything that happened, but the fact that, again, we talk about John Cena and Cody Rhodes now. Hey, no matter what, give them the title. That's kind of where Hulk Hogan was. I think, to be honest, WWE basically replicated that business model because of Hulk Hogan. So no matter what was going on, they were going to give him the title and let him run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, number 4. Who you got, Des?
The birth of Hulkamania. The first WrestleMania 1994.
That's mine!
With, when he beats the Iron Sheik and wins the title. But what I think is more infamous is the crowd afterwards. Like, that is like the picture perfect moment of a champion cheering. But this is where we all fell in love with Hulk Hogan, where we see the red and yellow, let me tell you, brother, everything. And he has just turned mainstream into pop culture, and just is on a skyrocket all the way up to the top. So how could you not list this?
Yeah, everything you just said, I'm just going to echo. You said it in the beginning. We were going to have some things that were just the same. It was bound to happen, and everything you just said, I don't have to repeat it. So yeah, that's mine too.
Great choice.
I know, great lines. All right. All right, so that being said, goes right back to you, Des. Who's your number 3?
Alrighty, I've already said it. I am a Randy Savage girl. I am part of the madness, not of the Hulkamania. So I'm going with the Mega Powers, and we have said multiple episodes. I love these two together with their famous SummerSlam match against the Mega Bucks. The whole storyline with Miss Elizabeth, and then ending with their feud at Mania and losing the title. Heartbreaking for me, but I tell you, this is one of the best slow burn storyline telling in wrestling history. When you think of Hulk Hogan, you can't help but think of Randy Savage, and those two were just pure magic together. Those are my guys. I love it, and it's just pure wrestling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everything you just said. I mean, that was obviously on my list for a reason. So, Okay. My number 3 is a 2-parter. I cheated, but I'll explain why. Hulk versus The Rock. Everything you just said. Again, to be able to headline WrestleMania nearly 20 years later, that is impressive. And for the crowd to flip in the middle, and remember, we just talked about that. It's the same Toronto crowd that was just going berserk over him and Warrior, and they were able to experience it all these years later. That's impressive. I remember that. We talked about this in a previous episode. I was at a Hooters actually in Tallahassee, so I was with a bunch of people, and everyone was going wild. That was just such a special moment, and it was another peak in his career. So, but the reason why I had to cheat, because technically he lost, so I wanted to end on a win. This is another surprising one. When Hogan beat the Giant at Hog Wild, when he was officially a member of the NWO. And the reason why I picked that is because, well, obviously both of us got the shirts on, but also it's because this was America's babyface for all these years. When he flipped heel, what really solidified it was him winning the title again. It's so funny if you watch certain shoot interviews from whether it's Kevin Nash or anybody else. There are so many more NWO fans, and a lot of that had to do because of Hulk Hogan. So it's very, very, very just reflective of how much power and influence he has over pro wrestling. But I thought that was very significant because the NWO in '96 made wrestling so hot again.
Good choice. I completely forgot about that one too.
Yeah. Okay, number 2, who you got?
The body slam heard around the world. WrestleMania, slamming Andre the Giant. No one expected it, but the only person that could do it is Hulk Hogan. The crowd went crazy. This is probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous, just picture in wrestling history. It's insane. I love it. You still watch it and you're like, I wish I was in that crowd. And I just feel like it just is just the perfect iconic picture of Hulk Hogan, who has the strength of who even knows. But it was just, I love it. I have no words. I can't even speak just because it's just so legendary. And we'll just go with that.
Okay. All right. That's on my list, obviously. And by process of elimination, my number 2 is turning heel and becoming Hollywood Hogan. And you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to say both these moments are number 1 for me. I'm just going to go ahead and blur it out there. So the body slam is number 1 and turning heel is number 1 too.
Mine's reversed.
I But you know what? No. You know what? I'm flipping at the last second. I'm making the executive decision. These are my number one moments because it's impossible. Yeah, it's impossible to say that one's better than the other. They both changed everything. Everything you just said, right? I mean, WrestleMania was really put on the map when he slammed Andre the Giant, just like you said. The crowd was just going absolutely nuts. They still talk about that moment in Detroit, and that just speaks volumes. I mean, the classic stare down. I think that was the first WrestleMania where they really put in that much production value into the show, and look where we are all these years later. And I think that WrestleMania really set the foundation.
Absolutely.
Turning heel, something no one ever expected, and I mean nobody, and starting the NWO. It was a brilliant storyline. WCW Creative gets ripped on, rightfully so, for a lot of things it did. This is really the one thing that they did that was stunning. It worked. Everything about it. And it's so nuts to think about because, remember, it's pretty much, a decade and a half later when you thought Hogan was just done with wrestling. He shocks the world and reclaims his rightful ownership at the top. So everything about both these moments, they're too good. Making the executive decision, they're both number. So that being said, I think you already said it, but let's hear and why.
It is the heel turn of 1996 at Bash at the Beach, the formation of the NWO. This is what made so many people fans of wrestling. You've said it. It is one of the biggest impacts in wrestling for such a baby face to turn heel and impact the fans so much that we turn bad. And it's turned into a lifestyle. You can walk past someone and do this and they'll do it back to you and they know exactly for life. Everything is too sweet. And for me, that's what I love Hogan during the golden age with Macho Man, with everybody else, but put him in that black and white and you put on that music, we become the coolest people ever. And that's why we're wearing our NWO shirts right now. We can't help but represent. So, that is my favorite moment of Hulk Hogan is turning on Macho Man with that leg drop, being the third man with Nash and Hall and creating history.
Yeah. Listen, it'll go down forever. All right. Well, that being said, what are your final thoughts? I know this is tough.
I just think that he is very impactful. I know a lot of people are saying that he's got a complicated history, which he does, but we are only going to focus on his impact on wrestling because that's what he's done. It is undeniable what he has done for fans, what he's done for the industry and for pop culture. He is who he is. He is forever immortal. Hulkamania will live on forever. And say your prayers and take your vitamins, just like you said.
Yeah, and I'm not going to follow that up. It was too good. All right, that actually wraps up this episode. What are your favorite moments about Hulk Hogan? Please DM us at the Shoots and Ladders. And like always, please like, share, and subscribe both on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
All right, until next time, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. God bless.
Have a good week. Bye, friends.
This has been Shoots and Ladders. Follow us for more content.